Hello, hello. Angela Wolf here. Welcome everyone to Behind the Scenes. I hope you got the newsletter yesterday and found out that the time changed to noon today. So every Wednesday might be a little different. So always check the newsletter and check the website. So pop in, everyone, say hi. Making sure the sound is good. It's kind of like a weird internet day today, so you never know. So first of all, if you got the newsletter, you saw that my big favor of the week was to pop on over to my nephew Carter. He's turning 9 tomorrow. I don't think it's today. Tomorrow, yeah. And he usually doesn't check his YouTube channel till the weekends. And he is one of the smartest little kids you've ever met. I love math, and he blows me out of the water on the math. But he loves reading. So I sent a link. I'm going to bring it up here so you can see it because I was so proud of the Wolfpack today. I asked you if you would pop over to his page and subscribe. His page is a kid's page, so you can't see his face or anything, but he reads, and he's reading Dogman right now. And I don't want to tell you what I sent him for his birthday, but let's just say there's going to be 24 books coming up, something he really wanted. So in here, he's reading Dogman. And then this was my favorite, the fractions. I started to watch that, and
guys, today we will be learning fractions.
Yes, he is one smart little cookie. And so thank you all for coming over. He is now up to 189 subscribers. You guys are amazing. So I'm going to drop the link in here one more time. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. He's going to see this on Saturday and he's going to freak out. So what made me even think of asking you to go to his page and subscribe? Now, it's just reading a book. If you know kids that want to hear a book, he does it with a great tone. So a couple weeks ago, we were talking about YouTube. And he said, Aunt Angie, how many subscribers do you have on YouTube? And I said, well, a little over 60,000, almost 61,000. He said, wow. So he called on Sunday and said, do you think when you're talking to your Wolfpack that some of them would subscribe to my page? I said, maybe one or two. So he's going to die when he sees that almost 200 of you did that. So thank you. Huge love from me on that. So I had to give that a shout out first. So what is today's show? Okay, I've got a great one for you. Today, do you have a question you want me to answer? So I've actually left it here. Many of you actually sent the questions through email, which was great. Nobody left their phone number, so I'm not going to call you live. But if you want me to call you live, you can send me an email with your phone number. I think our favorite show, we all agree, was when we called Clovis many years ago. Clovis, you and your husband will go in history for that because it was my favorite show ever. But for future, when I do these Ask Angela shows, if you want me to call you so you can explain it, just email me your phone number and I will call you live, as long as you give me a little hint what your question is. So I've got a whole list for you. I'm not sure we're going to cover them all, but before we get started, and you can leave them in the chat too, because if you're live, I will try to get those questions as well, especially because you're here. But just a quick announcement, if you are bored tomorrow at noon Eastern, of course, you're not bored, but I'm doing a special show on Brother Sew's YouTube and Facebook channels. They're kicking off a series of Start Your Own Business. Of course, this would be more towards embroidery side with the multi-needle, but I'm kicking it off with how to make money sewing, period. It might be sewing, it might be embroidery. I'm going to give you some ideas, take your questions live, and that's at noon Eastern tomorrow on Brother's Show. So I will leave a link to that show in the description in case you're watching this later and you want to go catch that show. But I started my business in 1994. That was a long time ago. So bring your questions to the Brother side tomorrow. I'll try to answer them and try to inspire you for those that want to start their own business or make a little money with the sewing side. You'll pay for your machine too. All right, what do we got today? I see you all rolling in. Hello, hello. Sound is good. Thanks, Charlotte. I always have to check. Jody, thank you. You're awesome. And you guys, everyone that emailed me back with a cute note for Carter's birthday, I'm putting them together and printing them and sending them to him. So April did that all the way from Australia. Loved that. And so anyways, he'll get all those and he's just going to be so touched. All right, what else do we have? Hey, Robin, how are you? Oh my gosh, Chris, did you watch? She said she got the newsletter and she watched him read the whale and the squid story. Maneuver made me laugh. Cute. I have to watch that one. I've only watched some of the Dogman ones. Oh, that's so funny. All right, so I've got a ton of questions. And so I just want to check to see if anybody's here has something before I go. What did Phyllis say? Did I miss it? I'm reading your comments right now. Let's see. Where's Phyllis? I think I missed her name on here somewhere. There's a lot of you here today. It's so great to see you. So I've got questions for you. And I actually had to call one of my experts. I call one of my embroidery expert friends to answer one of these because, thanks, Sherry. I had an answer of my own, but I wasn't sure it would be the accurate answer. So let's get started. All right, let me bring up my questions here. Where did it go? Here we go. Okay, so first question. Angela, this is from Sharon. So Sharon, I love this question. This was a great one, and I think I can answer it accurately. Now, if I don't know an answer, I'm just going to tell you no. But you can leave any question you want: fashion, sewing, fishing, some fishing. All right. Can you suggest? I'm just double checking one thing. We are live on Facebook, right? I think most everybody goes to YouTube now, so I want to make sure that I've got everybody on here. Yeah, it's working. I know if you hear roosters outside, they must think it's daylight, and it's not. Okay, then here's one from Sharon. Can you suggest how to adjust a pattern to make good fitting leggings? That is a very good question, but it's very broad. So let me see if she added more to that. Or can you suggest a good fitting pattern? I can, because I have one. I wear a small and ready to wear. So does my daughter, who is thinner. I'd like to make my leggings, but can't find a pattern that doesn't come up way past my waist. I'm with you on that. I had a pair of those on yesterday, and I hate them. So before I finish the rest of this question, how many of you out there are short-waisted? I am short-waisted. Do you know what that means? That means like when I'm standing next to my youngest sister, she's long-waisted, and we are the same exact height, and my belly button is up here, and hers is down here, meaning she has a long waist, I have a short waist. So as a short-waisted person, when I'm buying these leggings or pants that say high-rise, they're literally up to here. In fact, I found this really cool pair of leggings. No, I didn't make them. I do buy some clothes, but they were the Spider brand. I love that. And we're fishing, and I needed a nice warm jacket and some leggings. I found them at TJ Maxx. Really good deal. I didn't try them on. I just got a small in the jacket and a small in the pants. They fit perfect going around. But the pants, and I am not kidding you. So Sharon, you're going to laugh at this. I lifted them up and kept lifting and kept lifting. So we're on the boat, and my husband turned around. He goes, "What kind of pants are those?" I like literally tucked them up over my chest, just like for laughs. I go, "These are the longest pants I've ever seen. They look like Oompa Loomp, Oompa Loomp pants." But the good news is I'm going to take them home and cut off that waist. I honestly was like this much. I could cut off and not even miss anything. I'd really like to take off like that much. So instead, I rolled over the waistband a few times just to at least wear them. That's not very comfortable. So let me go back to Sharon's question and see if I can answer this. Leggings in the store are not 100% cotton anymore, and we both need to wear the 100% cotton leggings. I love 100% cotton, although if leggings are still going to have, if you're talking about leggings that are stretchy, they're still going to have some spandex in there. So that's not 100% cotton. So there's a cotton blend that you could use. Another one I'd recommend is rayon. There's a rayon blend. A lot of the leggings, though, are polyester, and it's really hard to find. So you want some suggestions on, number one, where to find a good pattern for leggings, and I'll give you some tips for taking them in the legs. So first of all, let me bring up this site for you. Sharon, this was a great question. And I'm looking at your comments. The waist like the cartoon characters. That's exactly it. You have that problem too? Yeah, I hate it. But what are you going to do? That's kind of why I started sewing, because in high school, I could not. That was back when we had Guess jeans. Remember the brand name Guess? And I loved those jeans. They look cute on all my friends. They looked awful on me. Awful. They were like worse than mom jeans, if you know what that means. Yeah. And I was in high school and I was very athletic. So the jeans were awful. So that's why I started sewing, because there were no differences in as far as if it was high-waisted, it was high-waisted. There was nothing else. When they came out with low rise, man, was I happy. But they weren't low rise on me. They were regular. So as soon as they start coming back with the mid-rise, low rise, I'll be a happy camper again. All right, let me bring this up for you so you can see. Hold on one second. Here you go. So first of all, I'm going to point this out for you if you have never been to my academy, and I'll drop the link in the chat here. I know a lot of you are in the master classes that I have put together for Brother, but in here there's embroidery classes that Cindy and I did together. These are a little bit older, but here's the basic leggings pattern. So this is actually a PDF pattern and video lessons. So these are the leggings. They're in size, I believe, extra, extra small through 5X. The lesson's $39. It includes 11 lessons, 2 hours of video content, and the free pattern. I never launched the pattern by itself because this was just an easy way to show you how to fit and sew. So this is called Basic Leggings. It includes the pattern. The pattern, I also showed how to add pockets to the side. Pattern hacking the leggings, that's right here. So I show how to make the waistband lower, how to add the side mesh pockets if you want them, and a few things like that. So let me take this down and go over to my table and give you some tips for fitting this, because this is a big question usually. All right, keep your questions rolling in because I can see them and I'll bring them up. So first of all, for leggings, and there are a couple of other good legging patterns too. I designed my own because I knew what I wanted. So one thing for sure is if this is your legging pattern, a lot of them look more like this. There's no side seam. So that makes it a little trickier to alter. But if once you have a well-fitting pattern, everything else is fine. One more thing I want to point out is if it is, I know Sharon was asking for cotton, but if you have athletic wear that stretches, like almost like a four-way stretch, you're going to notice that the crotch curve is a lot shorter. This is a crotch curve. I know this kind of looks like a penguin, but this is your leg. This is the outside leg, inside leg. These are the crotch curves. You'll notice that the crotch curve is a lot shorter than a regular pair of pants. So if this is, let's just say this is the back and this is the front. On a regular pair of pants, crotch curve might look more like this. And leggings, it's smaller. It's just for the fit. So one thing to take into consideration is a lot of leggings don't have an outside leg seam. So when you try them on, the first thing I do, even before I fit this crotch area, is I will wrap this part, sew this seam together, and slide it up my leg. And then I can see, let's just say, you know what, it's a little too big, and you can take it in this seam right here, which if I take it in here, you're going to be taking it in here as well. Now, this is where fitting can get a little more advanced. When you try on your leggings, if you know that you have, say, bigger calves, and it's mostly in the back side or in the front side. I mean, you don't have a lot of options here, and this area here, whatever you alter, they should match, or at least make sure that these are the same lengths, because you have to sew that seam back together. But by making your own, you can have this where you take it in a little bit up here, let it out a little bit, maybe in the, say, the thigh area, and then back in. So your side seams might even end up looking like this. Now it's really looking like a pencil. But you see what I mean? Because you can alter this to fit your body shape. Now, one thing I want to point out, this is for the legs, literally for your legs. And this area is for the crotch seam. So depending on how high this waist is, this is where I fell into the problem, where this was way too high. So to make that pattern shorter, if all of this fits good, except it's too high, and you can do this on any pattern, you'll cut right across here and lower, take this section out. So you can fold that down. So maybe you're taking out this much. So this part will attach down. If you're long-waisted and your leggings are too short, you can lengthen that, just total opposite. So to lengthen and shorten your waist, that's the section here. One more thing, some of the waists are just one layer of elastic and some are a whole band that's curved. So I'm going to get into the curved waist here in a little bit because Peg had a really good question I want to point out. But as far as a basic leggings pattern that you can adjust, you still might have to adjust areas for maybe a big tummy or a larger tush. All of those fitting things are different. But this is a basic leggings. Adjust your leg first. So this fits really nice when you slide it up and then go through and fit here. Another thing you can do is you can fit this area first and then do the leggings. It's the leg. It's totally up to you. But I always like to make sure that this leg fits really good. And it might have a lot of changes to it. One of the things I noticed on leggings is sometimes they're so tight at the ankle and calf. And because I work out, when I try on, say, an extra small, they're too tight through here and I can't stand that. So then I have to go up a size and then they're a little bit too big. So by making them on your own, you'll be able to adjust this. So if you like it a little looser in the calf and ankle, you can. You could also turn them into boot cut, which is very popular right now. All right, let me see what questions you have for me. Chris. Wait, I got to go back up here. Victoria says, with this weather, I'd be happy pulling them over my head. I love that. Oh, goodness. What else do you have? Hey, Chris. Thank you for sharing your wealth of information regarding not just sewing, but also embroidery. I was wondering if the brother instructors could also share the size and or type of machine needles they use. Yeah, you know, Chris, that's an interesting question. I personally match my needle to my fabric. So did you watch my show last week where I was embroidering the white denim? We were embroidering white denim and we were embroidering luggage tags. So for the luggage tags, I just left the needles that were in the multi-needle. They're size 12. They're just standard size 12 needles. Excuse me. On the Avenir, I was embroidering that huge design on white denim. And I was using a number 14 denim jean needle. So I match my needles to my fabric. A lot of my friends say they just leave a size 12 in always, just a universal 12. It really depends on what you're doing. So if I'm embroidering on leather, say, I'm going to use a leather needle versus an embroidery needle. That's my preference. That's what I've been doing for years. And so that might be able to help. Is this you asking about oh, you're embroidering the roses. Oh, are you in the Avenir class? Because that's where my roses are. I love those. You have to share a photo if you think of it. If you're on Facebook, share it in our Angela Love Patterns group. I would love to see it. What needle would I use? For the roses on tulle, I normally just use a number 12. It's very rare that I go down to an 11. The 12 is fine. And even if I'm embroidering on tulle, I'm thinking like on chiffon, I'll use a 12. I might go to an 11, maybe. I always test it. And on athletic mesh, I'll use a stretch needle. All right, what else do you have for me? Silverado Ranch. Oh, I like that. Who is that? I know who this is. Your first name, but I can't think of it right now. Quick question. Which side of the garment, left chest or right chest, do I put my embroidery design? I think it's the left, isn't it? Should I go look at one of Wynn's shirts? I have to check that. Yeah, I think it's left. Anybody want to answer that? I don't ever put logos on. And actually, that's one of our questions coming up here in just a minute that I want to answer. Hello, hello. Oh, this is a good one, Jody. Is there a trick to copying a pair of your favorite leggings without cutting them? Yes, there is. It's difficult though. So let me go back to the paper. Let's go back to this leggings and then I'll get into the embroidery question. So if you want to copy one of your leggings, it's very odd shaped. It usually doesn't have an outside leg seam. It might, I don't know. But what I do is I will lay my leggings. I wonder if I have a pair. Hold on. Let me grab a pair of mine so you can kind of see. Okay. I'll make sure my volume's on over here. So here's a pair of leggings. They're black. They're probably going to be hard to see, but I'll show you this. Just at the bottom. Now this is actually, this pattern has a bunch of seams. So it's a little different than leggings, but it'll give you an idea. So wherever your seam is, if this is your side seam, like I mentioned, this has quite a few seams. But let's just say this is your side seam. I would lay my entire legging out along this seam. So here's the edge of the seam. Here's the edge of the seam. And as I do that, make sure that seam is nice and flat. Flatten your leggings. Might even put a few pins here to make sure it's flat. And then what you want to do is have your ruler. One line is going to be totally straight. That will be the folded edge on this outside edge. This is your seam. This is just a folded edge. And then lay them, the folded edge, next to the line you just drew, and then you can just trace like this. And as you get up closer to the top, in the crotch area, you can still lay your pants flat. And you'll always have that fold. So just make sure that the edge of your seam is always on this outside edge, and then you have a fold. And then when you're finished, when you get to the very top, you can even maneuver just the crotch area too to trace that. So this would be my whole outside leg. And then I would slide this back when I get to the crotch area and trace that. So you can trace it. Actually, leggings are probably one of the easiest things to copy. All right. What else do you have for me? I think I got that one, Jody. Deborah says, I have a long torso and many leggings and jeans ride too. Okay, here's my embroidery expert. So hold on tight, everyone. And welcome to my friend, Cindy Hogan. You all know her and love her. Hey, Cindy, how are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Okay, I've got an embroidery question for you. And I think both of us think similar, but I think two pieces of advice on this will help.
Okay.
All right, everyone give Cindy Hogan a very warm welcome. You all watch her show on Tuesdays. Wait, okay, so, okay, here's the question. This is from Kathy. Hey, Kathy, by the way, in Fort Myers. She's so cute. She said her question is regarding how to avoid puckering when sewing a logo and text on a polyester knit athletic polo. She's embroidered 4 out of 6 shirts, all with fused no-show mesh cutaway, 2 shirts floated on perfect stick tearaway. So she's tried a lot of things, and no additional floating stabilizer, and 1 with perfect stick cutaway and no additional stabilizer. And hope you get catching all this, Cindy. And 1 with perfect stick cutaway with an additional cutaway medium floated. They all puckered equally and practically screamed embroidered by an amateur. We've seen that. We've seen those embroidered designs. Do you have any suggestions before she screws up the last 2 shirts? They're all for my son's business to be worn at a trade show next week. And she would like any guidance, and so would her son. So she's attached a photo, but here's the thing. She's talking about the different threads, the cutaway, the stabilizer. I think I'm going to ask you first. We both kind of agreed on this. Like, what do you think the first thing to check would be?
The first thing to check would be, how dense is that design? That is the biggest it sounds like it could be a digitizing issue.
That's what I was thinking too. So in case you guys didn't hear that, Cindy said, check the design. Is it too dense? Because when I saw the picture, which I won't bring up here, but it definitely puckered around all the letters. Like it was just like scrunchy. So who digitized the design, number one? And two, how many stitches are in that design? That'll tell you a lot. I mean, Cindy, do you remember you and I laughing about with my friend and I when we were embroidering stuff for the holidays, and she had this great design for her kids' shirts, and it was like 100,000 stitches in a design that was like a 4x4. It was like,
yeah.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah, you don't want bulletproof embroidery. But the other things that come into play, sounds like you've done a lot of troubleshooting. So take one of those shirts that you've messed up and troubleshoot the rest of the way on this, if you can, or a similar fabric. So there is, for athletic wear type mesh, those athletic wear type shirts, there is a stabilizer that is Polypro.
That's what I use. Yep, Polypro. In case you guys missed that, it's called Polypro. It's amazing. I don't even think, you know who taught me that? Cindy was, before even you and I used to talk embroidery, Deborah Jones. Because I said, if I want to do letters, why does my husband's shirts kind of look like, I put Win an Angel, and it was kind of like Win an Angel, like a big old wave. Polypro's great.
The Polypro, but if you're still getting puckering, it's more than likely the design is not digitized for the fabric that you're using. But there are some other things that you can do. You can float a couple of layers of a tearaway between the hoop and the bed of the machine to absorb some of those stitches. What I personally do is I use a cutaway. So a Polypro is a cutaway. I hoop, and then I tension my hoop, basically. I see how tight it needs to be. And then I take everything out of the hoop, put it back in, and then I don't stretch it. If you stretch it, when you pull it out, it's going to suck right back in. So that pre-tensioning of the hoop and using the closest size hoop as you possibly can to that project is one of the biggest things that you can do. But if it's still puckering, then float a couple of more layers of tearaway underneath there. That will help absorb that extra stitch count.
Okay, that helps a lot. And the other thing, Cindy, you and I both have seen. In fact, we have a class on that we still have open for stitching for smaller letters. Now, this isn't exactly the same thing, but it does make a difference. What you just said there, though, is don't stretch your fabric. And it's such a tendency to do that, to just like make sure it's laying nice and flat. And that right there could do it.
Yeah, if you stretch your fabric at all, although it sounds like she floated it on top of something, so that didn't stretch. But if that fabric stretches at all, that is what's happening. It's going to suck back in because it goes back to its original form.
Yeah.
But using a smaller needle and smaller threads for those tiny letters makes a huge difference. So like a 60 weight thread and a 7511 needle, I'll sit here and tell you 9 out of 10 times a 7511 is what's on my machine.
Okay.
That is because it's going to get the closest, the stitches are going to be closest together, the smaller the needle eye.
That was one of the questions that just came up. And I change mine according to the fabric, especially if I'm using like denim or leather or something like that. But yeah, the 11 and the 12 are my go-tos pretty much for everything, unless it's jeans, of course. But I wonder, let's see if she's in here. Hey, Cindy. The other Cindy's here. Cindy King. Cindy, I sent you a text today, and your Cindy King, and your I must have your wrong phone number because I got an error. I was she's got new babies in the house now. She's really busy.
I saw that.
Oh, I know. Congratulations. Okay, so I'll get to you, Patty, in a second. But Cindy Knight actually runs a full-time business doing this, and she had my logo digitized and all that. She said she wants to throw in her 2 cents. I use 2 pieces of Ganold Pro Sport. I wonder if that's similar to Polypro.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
It may be the same as the type of stabilizer that Angela and Cindy are talking about. So 2 layers. I think the other thing is if you're using a multi-needle or a single needle, I I love those jerky hoops that you can place the stabilizer on there, spray a little bit of, stabilizer and stick my fabric to it. That has been my go-to nonstop now. I absolutely love it. I've had zero puckering.
I'm not a fan of the spray adhesive because I don't like it stuck all over my house.
I step outside my office door and do a quick spray and stick.
My office is upstairs. That doesn't work for me.
It'd be called exercise program. Hey, everyone that has to spray, run outside. What's your favorite stabilizer then? Do you like sticky back, or do you just, do you mostly hoop?
I mostly hoop, but if it's something that I can't hoop, then I will use either a sticky wash away.
Okay.
The brother name is adhesive wash away, or a sticky tear away.
Okay.
Depending on what I'm doing, and then I'll float whatever I need underneath it. So if it's something that somebody's going to wear, it should always have a cutaway. If you wear it, don't tear it.
That was always your phrase. That's Cindy's phrase. If you wear it, don't tear it. Can you guys remember that? Sometimes I get it backwards though, so just remember, if you wear it, don't tear it.
The other thing I would say, if it stretches, it has to stay. Therefore, you use a cutaway.
Yeah. I think that's a big one. And this is kind of going into some other embroidery as well, but I know a lot of people like to embroider their knits. People are embroidering their leggings. They're embroidering all this stuff. And if you use a wash away and it's a design that needs to stay together, it's not going to work. It totally depends on the design. If it's a loose design that can go all over, it doesn't matter so much. But if it's one that needs to stay together, especially if you're putting like a logo or something. Hey, Cindy, wealth of information. You're the best. And your show's on Tuesdays at
3:30 Central.
3:30 Central. I was ready to say 4 Central. It's 3:30 Central, guys, on Tuesday. So log her in. Cindy, thank you so much. You also have a Facebook group, right?
I do. The Education Connection.
The Education.
That deals with anything brother machine wise. So I answer any brother machine questions there.
She's a wealth of information, guys, and you all know it. Hey, Cindy, thank you so much.
You're welcome, Angela. You all have a great day. Thanks for listening.
All right, bye.
Bye.
She's the best. I called her and I was like, hey, I need a second opinion here. Because you know what? I don't do logos. And so I was thinking, the first thing we both think of is how is the design? How is it digitized? Because we have seen some designs that are average, some that are really bad. And I think the big thing is bulletproof. But hopefully, Sharon, that helped a little bit to give it a try. I love the idea of taking one of the worst ones you have and practicing on that shirt. Maybe you have to cut it up later. City King says she uses the same hoop that came with her machines. Oh yeah, I love Mighty Hoops. That's what I was talking about, Mighty. I like those. Helen Jackson got me hooked on those. Yeah. Okay, so the Polypro, it is not a brother product. I do have it on my website. If you go to Angela with Patterns, let me bring this up real quick. If I can bring the right site up, hold on. I'll show you it. I think it comes in. So there's the leggings. I'll go back over here to this page. These are the classes that Cindy and I have that we put together a long time ago if you want more tips on embroidery. But let me just go up here and change it. I'll show you this stabilizer. Just know that if you order anything that's not digital, it won't be shipped until a week from now. All right, so here's Angela with Patterns. If you scroll down, if you missed the newsletter, here's where you sign up for it. Here are my embroidery trays, a whole bunch of fun stuff here. Go up here under embroidery and stabilizer. And there should be Polypro because I bought just enough because I wanted to test it myself for our fishing shirts and I love it. So there's Polypro Performance. That's a little bit, 20-inch by 10-yard roll. That's a little bigger. Here's a small one if you want to try. Just 9-inch by 10-inch. That's 10-yard, I mean. That's pretty much all you need. It's Polypro. And there's black and there's white. I know, Cindy and Cindy, both embroidery people. we all learn a lot from each other too. All right, so what else do we have? I saw some more questions rolling in here. Patty, I got your question, I hope. And digitizing does make a difference, big time. Check and see how many stitches per area. I mean, if it's a logo that his company had, you'd hope that it's okay, but you never know. But hopefully those things will help. Somebody asked about leggings. How do you add pocket to store-bought leggings? Ooh, that would be an entire complete pattern hack, like a total pattern hack. I'm trying to think if there's anything creative you could do on that. Like I have added little zippered pouches, a little coin pocket to put my credit card in. And I just added it to the inside. And so you saw the stitching from the outside, but I made sure it was decorative. If you really want to add a pocket to the outside, the issue with store-bought leggings is if they're athletic wear, the whole inside leg seam is going to be already sewn, usually with a flat lock machine. But I do have an idea for you. Come on over here. All right, let me make sure. Okay, that is in the center. I was making sure it was in the center because I know some of you watching on the thin one, you wouldn't see all these lines that I was drawing. So sorry about that. So if you have store-bought leggings, one thing you could do is totally refashion them. You could buy maybe one size larger, and that way you could cut them up. So if this is your legging, you could cut the inseam. Cut the inseam open and then add your pockets here. You could also open your inseam and give yourself 2 seams right here. So when you're sewing leggings, you're usually using a serger and your seam allowance is like barely 1/4 inch. So if you go up a size, you could technically cut this inseam open. I wouldn't rip that out. That would be a nightmare. And then add 2 more seams to the outside so you could add your pocket and it would go here and say here. That could be your mesh. And then sew that seam all the way down, sew that seam all the way down, and sew this back together. And you would have taken in 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, and so basically 1 inch, which is about going up 1 size. So that's one idea for you. Another thing, it's really hard to get in. Those leggings are usually so tiny, but if you do want a pocket on your high hip area, you could take a piece of fabric, cut out a nice pocket, and then cover stitch around it. So finish your pocket and then just do a nice cover stitch and make it look like it's part of the pattern. As long as it's up in this area, you'll be able to get your machine in there. If it's down in the leg, you won't be able to. So just another idea for you. All right. Thanks, Betty. You guys are the best. Carter's going to be so thrilled. Actually, he's going to be really thrilled. We're at 195. My goal was 200, so we only need 5 more people to subscribe to Carter's Pixels and Pages with Carter. Thanks, guys. You're the best. All right, I have some more questions for you. Making sure I'm answering all these. Carolyn, are you the one that was having issues printing the jogger pants? So some of you guys have asked, you've seen the jogger pants that we've been sewing on Fashion Sewing Club. And it's in the Fashion Sewing Club. So it's right here. If you go to Fashion Sewing Club right here, click on Learn More, and then you can choose monthly or annual membership, whichever one you want. And then there's 2 live shows a month, plus hundreds of old videos in there. So it's an archive of a lot of videos. But the cute pants pattern, it's in there. It's a PDF size 0 to 5X, page 2E. Yeah, I got to figure, because I printed mine, mine's fine. So Carolyn, that's on my notes today to figure out why yours isn't printing that way. And if I have to send you a new PDF, I will. Thanks, Zena. We just need 5 more people to get to 200 for him. Carter's actual birthday, Jody, is tomorrow. I think. I'm pretty sure. Thanks, Karina. I love my joggers too, and the Fashion Sewing Club. All right, we've got some more time. I've got a few more questions that you all emailed me. So let me check these out real quick. And if you have more, leave them in the chat. And a big shout out to Cindy Hogan. Thank you for helping me with that question. All right. Helen has 2 questions for the live show. She's so cute. She's like, I'm sure you already answered these. You never know. When cutting out a pattern, do I use the exact pattern measurements? I put on a sweater to take my measurements so it won't be too tight. My measurements go from an 8 to a 10 to a 12 to a 16, depending on what I'm doing. I'm all over the map. How do you determine which size to cut when you're all of these sizes? So that's a good question, Helen. And everybody that's here thinking of patterns, first of all, the exact measurements on a pattern, which usually if you have my patterns, you'll see a little circle, maybe at the bust area, the waist area, and the hip area. That's exact measurements. For your sleeve, if that exact measurement isn't on there, you can measure yourself for the sleeve. As far as like from point to point, that would be considered your bicep area. Okay. What I usually do is I will start with the waist. Well, okay, now it depends what you're using, but those are the exact measurements. That means there's no ease. Those are the exact measurements. So if you are a 36-inch bust and you cut out a 36-inch exact bust top, you better hope it has stretch because it's going to be skin tight. So for a knit, it'd be fine. But if you're making a blouse, you would want to go up a size. Now, the other thing is there's so many pattern alterations that you can make to one size. So for example, if you are, say, a size 8 in the waist and a 12 in the tush, you can't get rid of your tush. I would probably cut more of a size 12 and take it in through the waist area because that's easier for me. But you could also go the other way and let it out. It just depends if you feel more comfortable taking it in or letting it out. So if you have a ton of pattern alterations, I would just go with a general size for if you're looking at your exact measurements. One thing I want to point out though is there's also general measurements. The general measurements on the back of a pattern. In fact, I have a pattern. No, that's not on here. I've been working on a pattern. So this is the Christie jacket that I've been working on. The general pattern, the general measurements are the general sizing of what you might need. And it includes ease. So jackets might have 2 inches of ease. Some jackets might have 3 inches of ease. It should say on the general measurements how much ease is included, but if it doesn't, that's where you compare the exact measurements to the general measurements. So if you're 36-inch bust and the exact measurements are 36-inch bust, and that's say a size 4, then I would go up to a size 6. So the general measurements is just an easy way to say, hey, you know what, I'm somewhere around that size. I usually start with the largest size because you can always take it in, unless, like for jackets, this whole neck area is really difficult to alter if you're brand new to fitting. So let's just say you're a size 6 from here up, and then in the tummy area, you're an 8. Then I would go with the 6 and let the pattern out. And all of these would be different fitting issues. As far as the sleeve, if you have a larger biceps or a larger arm here, that's pretty easy to alter. You cut the pattern up. I have a ton of tutorials in Fashion Sewing Club on that. So I would still go with the base size that fits your bust area and your neck area, and then let that out. It's just easier for me. But everybody looks at fitting differently. I have a friend, she prefers always to get the biggest size and take it in everywhere. And that's okay. But, if you go up and down more than 2 sizes, you can get into a lot of issues. So hopefully, Helen, that helps a little bit. And if you ever have something more specific, just let me know and I can bring that up in the Fashion Sewing Club and show the exact way to alter that. Zena, is there a single video to show how to sew the joggers from start to finish? I know there's a couple of videos in the Fashion Sewing Club, Zena, but I don't know. I have to ask the Fashion Sewing Club members. I'm not sure. Oh, Karina, you finished your video in the Fashion Sewing Club group? I got to find them. Let me look those up. All right, and I got one more question from Peg. Can you give construction ideas for jeans that roll down over a rounded belly, putting pressure on the bladder? Embarrassing. Oh my gosh, you're giving me a visual right now of when I was young and when I were flying somewhere and I was wearing a pair of Levi's. I would buy men's Levi's because they fit better than the women's, but they're a little higher waisted. And I think it was a Southwest airline flight. I could not hold it any longer. And they were sitting on the runway and I just got up, went to the bathroom. And of course they got on the speaker and said, we are on the runway. Now they weren't taking off. We were just sitting there. And they're like, you've got to go back to your seat or we're not moving. I'm like, if I don't get to that bathroom, I drank 4 cups of coffee and 2 glasses of water. We're going to be doing a lot more than sitting on this runway. So I swore after that I would not wear those Levi's because they were tight and they hit like right at your bladder. It's awful. So I do have an idea for you, Peg. So come on over. I'll show you that idea. If you're constructing jeans on your own, if this is your, yeah, that is a true story. You can ask Win about it someday. He's always like, I'm like a little kid when we get on the plane. Did you go to the bathroom yet? Because we're not going to stop the whole plane again. All right. So one thing, if this is the front of your pants and you're constructing these from scratch, I would take a fold out of here, almost like this. Take that out. And when you fold that down, let's see if I can. You would fold that section out. So what does that do? Well, first of all, and I would check the fit first, but this is what it would look like. Instead of being straight across and this is higher, this would be lower. This is exaggerated, but this is kind of what it would look like here. And then I would also do a curved waistband because then this would be higher on your backside and then you can attach it lower here. This is just like my jeans pattern. My jeans pattern looks like that, where it's higher in the back, lower in the front. So you need to get rid of some of that excess fabric and then it would kind of go a little bit lower. If the pants fit great up here and they're just tugging down here, then you need to lower your crotch a little bit, so you have more room when you sit down. One or the other, but this is what I would do. Hard to say for sure without seeing pictures, but that is me, Peg. Peg the pilot. You know that would be me that would do that. Yes, but that was a long time ago. That was like, gosh, 1998 or something. I've come a long way, but I don't drink coffee before I get on the plane anymore. Maybe 1 cup, depending on how long the flight is. All right. Oh, hey, Cindy. Oh, you need to make the wrap top. Are you making the Shirley tunic? Yeah. Patty says, I start at a smaller size for tops and then expand the bust and belly. It's hard for me to reduce. I agree. This whole area, the neck and the shoulders, if that fits good, it's much easier to let out. Do a full bust adjustment or do a full tummy adjustment or, a back adjustment, whatever you need. Hey, Barb. From South Africa. That's awesome. What style sleeve is best to use for bigger upper arms? So let me show you a quick alteration on any sleeve pattern that you could use. So I'll bring this up so we know what we're answering. Come back over. All right. So I have a ruche tee pattern that is my go-to top. The top I'm wearing now is from my Fashion Sewing Club, which has a nice loose sleeve, which you might like. But let's just say you have a long sleeve and a bigger upper arm. This is actually what Helen was talking about. So the alteration you're going to do is from here to here. And you will cut from here to the corner, from here to the corner, from here to here, and here to here. And let me see, I have my scissors here. Hold on, don't move. Just going to cut this pattern out to show you what this will look like. I'm cutting outside of the pattern because it's too hard to see white on white. And then if you're here, cut all the way down to the bottom, like I mentioned. You're just going to make like 4 hinges. Okay. So the first thing I do is I will retrace this top area just so I can keep that angle. That's a little messy, but you got the idea. And then open this up. And when you open that, these 2 edges here are going to hinge over each other. See how this flips over a little bit? Spread this open. Let's just say you need that much. Okay? I don't have tape here. So, actually, I do. But you'll get the idea. So, this gave room for the upper arm, right? And so you'll retrace this and then go back up to where this curve was. Make sure that's a nice curve and back down. So this measurement through here, if I get my fingers out of the way, along the sleeve cap up here, that measurement will still fit into your top or jacket, but now you just gave yourself a lot more room in the upper arm. So you could use any sleeve you like. The sleeve that I'm wearing right now, and I'll come back over and show you, this was a top that we did in, oh, Cindy, is this the top you're talking about that you're going to make? This is the one we did in Fashion Sewing Club. So you can kind of see if I can get this way. See how it's like a little looser? Has a little flow to it. That's very flattering if you have a larger upper arm. But that's an easy way to alter basically any pattern for that. All right, what do we have? Yeah, you know, Karina, what you're talking about there is exactly kind of what Helen was talking about. She wore a sweater to make sure that she had enough measurements to fit what she wanted. The garment measurements are, I mean, basically the general measurements are how the garment's going to fit, and you should be able to know how much ease is in there, but if you don't, that's where the exact measurements really come in handy. So I know some people who want to wear their clothes a little looser, so they might wear a size 12, and then when they want to wear something a little tighter, they'll switch to a 10. You don't really have to do that. Once you have a well-fitting pattern, you can just adjust a little bit for that. That could be a whole discussion on its own, right? All right, make sure I'm not missing anything else. Oh, yes, the Shirley, or the one I'm wearing. This is the wrap that we designed in Fashion Sewing Club. The video is still in there. It has a seam and a wrap. It's like a crooked wrap. I'll do this without flashing you. Not as long, it does not change the arm's eye as long as you have that nice curve at the top. So you need to make sure that, you know, when you open it, you don't have like an indentation. And the wider the sleeve is, it will lay a little flatter. That's why you need to keep that little angle up at the top. All right, let me see if I got anything else. I think I got everybody's questions. That was awesome. And our hour's up. Susan, I saw you popped in. You're like, I didn't know it was this time. I'm changing it each week according to the travel schedule. So as a reminder, let's do a quick check on, bring this up. First of all, as a reminder, if you are in the Fashion Sewing Club or any of these classes, Fashion Sewing Club has a discount to any of these. Some of these are private for brothers, so you can't buy those. But the other ones, we've got a pant fitting class. We've got a serger class, knit class, all these fun things. So these are all here. Here's the jeans class if you want to learn how to make jeans. And let's check. Let's do a quick update. Did we make 200? Let's check. 200. Wolfpack is amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Carter is going to be so surprised. So I asked him to send me a message, so he will. And his voice is so cute. It's like, you tell the Wolfpack they're awesome. I'll tell them that. And now he's really going to think you're awesome. Okay, a couple more things to just share with you. On the Angela Wolf pattern, some of you asked how to get to the fabric stash sale. It's right here. I don't have a sale going on right now except for certain things if there's any left. So if you go under sale, there's the rib knit. Now this black rib knit is not the black one that I showed last week. The one I showed last week sold out right away. That was black with a little bit of gray rib knit on it. If you missed that show, it was last week on Wednesday. This one is black. Solid black rib knit. So you've got some red, blue, the black, like a rust color, and a rosewood color. If you go on the Angela Wolf Patterns app, there's a few more under there, and I'll show it to you real quick. So the Angela Wolf Patterns app looks like this. When you log in, it kind of looks like this. Make sure it can, I'll take you back over here so you're not going dizzy. Hold on. It looks like this. And if you go under, there's a lot more fabrics on the app than there is on the other places. So if you go under, let me see if I have that up at the top, under fabric, or go under sale. And under sale, you'll see these. And then if you go under fabric, there's a few more for sale that are not under sale. I have to make sure that they're on sale, but they there's a couple more sweater knits in here. So if you look, it'll say if it's on sale. And all of those will be shipped next week. So none of them will be shipped now. So of course, somebody said, if you're going to have a fabric sale every week, what fabric is on sale this week? Well, as soon as we finish this show, I will go to the app, and this week for sale is going to be the Ponte knit. I love Ponte knit for pants, for jackets, for skirts. You've seen me wear them. I've got quite a few colors. So that will go into effect this afternoon. It will be on sale. You do not need a coupon code. So when you go to this website right here, this is Angela Wolf. Let me make sure and bring this up. How about this one? There. This is Angela Wolf Patterns. And when you go to the top, let me go back here. Oh, okay. Hold on. You go to the Angela Wolf Patterns website and click on that fabric stash sale. So if I go back one more, I think it's right here. So this is Angela Wolf Patterns. I will leave a link in the description, but you can also just go to Angela Wolf and find it. The other question I had is some of you were saying that you could not log into the calendar. So I might need your help for just a moment. But here, if you click on fabric stash sale, this is where you find all the fabrics that you see me share. And that's where I will also make sure Ponte knit's on sale this week with no coupon code. So that will be on sale for a whole week. Next week in the house, we are going to be, well, I got a couple exciting things. We've got the Miami Fabric and Trim Show, which is awesome. That's next week. And also for those that are in Miami, I found that they have a Dolce & Gabbana Can't say it correctly, but hopefully I didn't botch it too bad. Dolce & Gabbana exhibit at the museum that looks spectacular. I'm dragging Win. Don't tell him. I asked, I said, can we go to a museum exhibit for clothing just for like 20 minutes? He's like, sure, why not? He reminded me, don't touch anything. I won't. Because last time I went to one, I couldn't help it. I had to look at that hem and I got in trouble. They didn't kick me out, but it was close. Zena, are you going to the Lakeland Original Sew Expo? I am. In fact, I will be there. And for 2 days prior to that, I will be at the Tops stores right by Lakeland there. Bradenton, I think. So yes, I will be there. Are you going to be there, Zena? I would love to see you. Hey, Bev, great to see you. What else is happening? Well, those are the two main things. So if for any reason I decide to go, I don't know if I'm going Wednesday or Thursday to the Fabric and Trim show. If I go Wednesday, there won't be a live show, but I'll announce it. Just watch for your newsletter. That's how I can tell. So here was your other question. And maybe some of you can tell me if you're seeing something different than what I'm seeing. Because when I go to angelawolf.com, okay, let me bring it up. This is what I'm seeing. So if you're seeing something different, it's probably, I don't know what's going on. Up here under live shows, top, click on live shows. There's how you sign up for the newsletter. Now, when I go here, I see all the live shows. I see there's a noon one tomorrow on Brother. There's a noon one here. When I go to next month, I can see the Tops booth. So if you guys can't see that, let me know. Like here's the Fashion Sewing Club. There's the Fashion Sewing Club. It's easy to see that. And supposedly you can add it to your Google Calendar. And I left it public. So you shouldn't have to ask me for that. So, well, let me know if it's not working correctly. I guess I could probably try an incognito page, but we'll see. Hey, Sheila, great to see you. Yeah, today we're on at noon because guess what? It's a gorgeous day and I'm getting ready to go out for a beautiful walk. I'm working on some new patterns, but I want to get your Q&A today. So tomorrow at noon Eastern, if you pop over on the Brother Sew show, this is something new. I didn't even put it in my newsletter this week, but I'll send you a reminder tomorrow. I will be doing a 1 hour basically how to make money sewing show. I will be sharing some ideas for making money sewing, doing alterations, embroidery, try to get your mind thinking of how you could make some money sewing if you want to, for a business or for fun. All right, anybody else? Did I miss any last minute questions? Oh, yes, Puyallup is going on this weekend. So if you guys do a Wolfpack meet and greet, make sure you post it in the Angela Wolf Patterns Facebook group so everybody can get together. I will miss you there. And I think I've got everything else. Yeah. You guys are great. And a big shout out to Cindy Hogan. Thank you for joining me. This was a lot of fun. And until next time, everyone, happy sewing.